wrong. That's a whole lot of stash.
I'm Julia.
I'm Sue.
And welcome to A Whole Lot of Craft. This is episode 57.
57.
And we're going to be organizing ourselves today.
It's that time of year. Although I guess it's Jan-Feb when they have all the organization stuff on sale.
I think so, but it's almost spring cleaning time.
Yes.
And it has been, you know, we said last time, oh, it's freezing cold in long February. And then today it's like 50 degrees and sunny and the crocuses are blooming.
I know. We could have almost...
yeah, we could have been outside.
We could have been outside recording, except it's a little windy.
It is. It is. And a little chilly yet, but I am not going to complain. Not at all about,
Me neither.
About that.
Look at you knitting away.
Yeah, I thought I would actually work on something today. Since we're here, we might as well.
Go for it.
Do you have stuff you can do on the fly?
Possibly. It's just not in our reach right now.
Maybe later. So have you been working on stuff then?
Nope, just work. Honestly. No, I have not.
What do I have you around for?
Exactly.
I'm teasing.
Just as a co-host. No, I have not worked on anything since our last podcast, which is very sad. I really was one afternoon. I was like, I'm going to dedicate this afternoon to myself, and then, crazy happens.
Yeah.
And, kids get sick or...
I know, that does happen a lot.
That sort of thing, and yeah, there it goes. So, spring sports are coming, so that's what we're starting to do now, which is taking up my crafting time.
And you're coaching, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess I was going to say, when I go to spring sports, I sit and I work on something.
No, I don't sit around and tell everybody what to do.
I admit I'm not the coach type. I'd probably be telling the children the wrong rules or something. I never was good.
They tell you that stuff, you just repeat it. I don't know what it means. Just run that way really fast. Something gets in your way, turn.
Right. I quoted that to your husband not too long ago.
Yes. Trivia question. Where did that line come from?
Oh, yes.
Go that way really, really fast. If something gets in your way, turn.
Do you guys know where it's from?
Oh, you have to put it on our thread. We'll have to have a movie trivia question.
That'd be fun.
No, the only thing that I've been doing slightly creatively, which I didn't actually do, is I've been ironing Perler beads.
But that's really cool.
My kid is on a Perler bead jag, and yes, I was very proud of him. He actually did this, and he did, actually they're over there, he did a bunch of Mario ones as well that he made as a gift. But I was actually very impressed with this.
Yeah, it's neat.
This is, for those of you who are Legend of Zelda fans, this is Majora's Mask.
Okay. It reminds me of Mardi Gras.
I can actually see through this because there's little holes.
Halloween.
I know it's so pretty, and he just did such a good job.
Will he be hanging that on his wall, or is he giving that away too?
He has it in his room right now.
Cool.
But the ironing part, if you've ever done Perler beads, the ironing part is hard because it's so huge, and then sometimes when you slide the iron over, it makes the beads turn.
Yeah, they fall over and. They're kind of a bear.
Yeah, so, anyway, but I was just very impressed with it. So, I was ironing these, and that was my job.
You're a gracious parent. I threw all of ours away. I couldn't do it anymore. They were just all over the floor, and I couldn't do it, so they all disappeared.
Oh, he has them all organized in little bags. Oh, nice. We can talk about that. We can show his Perler bead organization later on when we talk about organization. But he has them. He separates them by color if you come with a mixed bag, and then he puts them in little bags and... But they still get everywhere.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. They had no organization, and my middle child, who's the one who did it the most, is the least likely to pick up after herself. So they were just
everywhere.
Yeah, they got mixed up with pony beads.
We have already, he somehow dumped a whole bunch behind his bed one day, and I was like, you know what? I'm sucking these all up with a vacuum cleaner. I can't do it. And we have old, being in an old house, you have the cracks along the molding. So there were beads stuck in the floor.
Yeah, we've had that too. They get in between the floorboards.
Yes.
In the hardwood.
So what have you been working so diligently on?
Well, this, I'm half mid-row, but this is the version 2 of the prototype that I showed you guys last time. It's gotten longer. And I've actually got a couple people who are working on testing for me.
Oh, exciting.
Started. There's 3 versions, and I don't know which ones they are doing yet, but I could use at least one more tester, if not 2 or 3. So if you guys are interested in testing a, what do we call it, a scarlet? I was trying to coin the term, but I can't figure out how to spell it. So, because it doesn't look right. It looks like you just misspelled scarflet if you just call it a scarlet.
Maybe you used to spell it with a K.
Maybe.
Scarlet.
Or SCAWL. Scarlet.
Ooh, that's hard to say.
It is hard to say. So I don't know.
I'll work on that for you.
That's what this is. This is the second version.
Maybe you should just make up a completely new name for it. That's not even close to that.
Yeah, I don't know. It does have a name. I think I'm going to call it Lateral Thought, because I had to think way outside the box to figure out how to make it work. And so that's what I'm going to call it. And this is my 3rd color, my 3rd ball that I'm going to use.
Ooh, I like that.
This is a brand new Madelintosh called Electric Rainbow. Isn't that fun?
That is really
It's got like
neat.
black speckles all over it.
It does. It reminds me almost of when markers are running out. It reminds me of your son's Vinewood Derby car. Because he colored it with markers.
He did. And he won Funniest Car because it had 4 eyes and 3 tails. So, you know.
And the Lego guy in it.
Yeah.
But that's what it looks like. It looks like when you color with markers and the marker is running out and there's all the splotches between it. Which is kind of cool. It's a, it's a look.
Yeah. So I'm excited to work with this. I don't usually do, a little close up there, I don't usually do a whole lot of super bright. So this is way outside the box for me, but that's okay. It'll be fun. I think this time of year, could always use a burst of color before the flowers. But we did get crocuses. My oldest brought crocuses home yesterday.
Yeah, we have snowdrops. We've had snowdrops for a while.
So that's my first thing. And then I seriously had a case of, I just don't want to work on the same old projects anymore. So I cast on 2 new things. Because, why not? So it's another speckled thing. This is another speckled yarn.
That looks like Easter eggs.
Yeah, and so this is going to be Ode to Vera, which is a girl did a shawl based on the style of Vera Valimaki, who has got some very popular shawls out there. But I am 2 stripes in, and it's a 3 color. So the speckle's the lighter, and then I've got this tealy green and then a brown.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah, so something different there, and that's super mindless. So it goes really fast, and it's got like a wider edge over here, and then a narrower edge over here. So it's got some interest to the colors. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's that. Apparently, I'm craving lots of color because this is like the craziest of crazies. I put a picture on Instagram of this. So there's skein 1 and skein 2, which is the same color but lighter because of a dyeing. I think
there's even like some green.
Yeah, I think it's just a different dye lot. Color 3. Color 4.
Whoa! How many colors does this have?
5. And color 5. And this is going to be a sweater.
Wow.
So I've got the first little top part of the sweater done, just the very top collar. Nice. Isn't that gorgeous though? Look at those crazy colors.
Yeah, that is really pretty. And that's this one I'm holding right here in his hand.
These are, I remember, these are Bittersweet Woolery. And I bought them at New Jersey Fiber Festival a couple years ago.
Fun.
This one is Dirty Water Dye Works. And I got this at Rhinebeck to match because I thought the pink would match well. Mm-hmm. This is the Plucky Knitter that was given to me by a girl at Zombie Apocalypse a couple years ago. And this is just some leftover Madelintosh sock. So they will all be a sweater at some point.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the crazy that's going on in my world.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I am a little crazy.
That's exciting though.
Yeah.
Lots of new projects to start for spring.
I know. And I feel like all of this stuff I'd already bought, so I'm just pulling it out of my stash and throwing colors together, which makes, I've been really nuts when I bought way too much stuff this month too, but I'm using things that I've had, which makes me feel good. Feel better anyway.
I hear you.
Yeah. And then I finished a scarf which I think is kind of fun. It's a sampler scarf that I did for work for a class I'm teaching.
Oh, fun.
So it's got all these different... This is literally the first scarf I have ever finished in my life because I don't have the patience to get through an entire rectangular scarf.
It's funny. You can't do a scarf, but you can do a whole sweater in 5 different yarns.
I know.
We all have our Achilles heel.
We do. So this is the first one, and I think the only reason I got through it is because it has different blocks of pattern. And it's called I Can Knit a Scarf. It's supposed to be for beginners.
It's
I called
really
it
pretty.
I Can Finish a Scarf. Yeah, I like it, and it was fun to do the different patterns. It kept me interested, and there's a few I hadn't tried before, like this little puckery one I'd never done before.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm about ready to cast on one more thing. You ready to see this?
I can't wait.
Because it's a birthday sweater for April. Isn't that beautiful?
That is beautiful.
This is going to be a Miranda sweater, which is a hoodie with a cable down the front and a kangaroo pocket for the oldest. I think she's really going to like it. So it's in garnet, and I cannot wait to cast this one on.
Yes.
I will probably do it
really
tonight.
soft, too.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's super wash because it's for a child. Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. So this will be something you guys will see over the next month, too.
Exciting.
Yeah. So now I've told you my whole
life story.
My whole life story. All the crazy. But a lot of that, except for the Wool of the Andes, will count towards the stash along. Mm-hmm. Which we're still doing till the 12th. So you guys can still post things on the thread for that. Anything you've worked, it doesn't, I don't even care if it's we were doing whips too, like things that people had started long before.
Right.
Anything that you guys have been working on from stash can be
posted on our thread and entered
there.
Into our contest.
Yeah.
And fabulous prizes.
I don't know if we picked a prize yet, have we? For that one?
I don't know. I will have to look in my prize bag.
I will have to look in my stash too. I'm sure there's something. Is that the prize bag?
This is the prize bag.
Ooh, I love that bag. That's so pretty.
Oh, I guess you'll have to wait
fabulous. Yeah.
That's where I keep the prizes so I don't lose them.
That's a good idea. Probably good that way.
Otherwise I go, wait, where did it go from last time? It's a bright bag. That's what I use as my prize bag now.
I would totally use that for a purse. I like that a lot.
It is pretty, but I started putting prizes in it one time, and now it's a prize bag, and if I try and find a different bag, I will forget that I got a new bag. So now it's the prize bag.
Alright, well that works. Until you need a pink bag.
And then the whole system's going to go haywire.
Right. Well, today...
Speaking of systems.
Yes, today we're doing something a little different. We're not going to do a DIY, but a viewer had asked us back at our 50th episode in the giveaway thread about how do we organize our stash. And I thought we would take it a little bit further, not just our general stash, but also our projects, because there's a lot of different ways you can organize projects, and I know you and I do different kinds of projects, so there needs to be different kinds of organization. And I think there's a big movement coming back on cross-stitch and sewing, like homemade wardrobe is coming back around pretty big, and I see a lot of people doing needle felting, and stitch markers, making things with beads. All of those are going to be big organizational things. Right. And the more things you do, the more organization you need. Right. So here we're actually in Sue's brand new decorated studio. Yes. And I love it. The lights are great and the shelves are great. Yes. So do you have tips and tricks for us on your organization?
Well, the shelving was key. This is IKEA shelving. It's the calyx. Okay. I had that for my yarn, my fabric, which we talked about a long time ago.
Yeah, a while back we had an episode.
And so I had the big 4x5. 4x4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's right behind the camera over there. It's a 4x4. So this one actually interestingly enough, because IKEA changes stuff.
Yes.
I had it all figured out how I was going to do it, and then they don't make the 5x1 anymore.
Okay.
They used to make one that's really tall. Yeah. Probably it fell over and hurt a lot of people.
Oh boy.
So I ended up getting a 4x2. Okay. Because my ceiling slopes down. You can't probably tell from this, but my ceiling slopes down, and right here.
That's the end of the attic, right there. Right?
Yeah. So it slopes down to there. So I couldn't get a shelf that went to the ceiling, which would be great because then I'd have a lot of storage.
Yes.
So I had to make it fit within the confines of a slanted ceiling. Otherwise, I would lose a lot of space. Mm-hmm. So I did a 2x4, a 2x2, and then this is a 1x4 that's on top of the 2x4.
Okay.
And so I have a little space over there where I can put pencils and stuff. So I actually use drawers. They have the drawer inserts for my seed beads. And so I have all my seed beads in here.
That kind of keeps them collected.
Yeah, and like you can buy seed beads like this, and I like keeping them in the vials. You also can buy them, these are the bigger ones. And then they come in this size too. So I've been working towards kind of putting them in similar containers.
Okay.
Because sometimes when you order them online, they come in bags.
Right.
And I don't really like the bags. So I actually found these the other day at Michael's. They're actually glitter containers.
Oh, those are neat.
And they have one side is little holes. It's almost like a salt shaker. These are really hard to get open, but I guess if it's glitter, you don't want it to go everywhere.
No, and it's probably best for the beads too.
Yeah, so you can, because these are such tiny seed beads, you can pour them out.
Oh, they have holes.
Yes, there's holes on one side, and then there's
a big hole.
A big hole. Okay. It's like Parmesan cheese.
Yes.
Where you can select.
Yeah, we learned the hard way last night not to open the big side.
Appropriate.
She's all over.
But anyway, so I can turn these sideways in the drawer like that, and then I can see all my colors. Because I like to organize my beads by type, and then with the seed beads by color. So those are all my seed beads.
Okay.
And then these containers behind me have all of my other parts in different things. So this one's findings, and findings is everything they use to put things together. Hooks and loops. And so findings was this for a really long time, and then I started to get too many ear wires, so then I started a box just for ear wires. And then I like to organize them by these are all wooden beads. These are all glass crystals and that sort of thing. And I have one for charms, and I have one for metal beads, I have one for stone beads, and I have one for chips.
So boxes like these, do they come labeled as bead boxes, or what are they called at the store?
Yeah, these are bead boxes. The most important thing I learned from buying beads, the very first piece of bead organization that I had was a complete disaster.
Oh.
And actually, I just condensed everything down when I did my shelving. I used to have things in all different spaces. Like, these are my favorites. So I put those all together. And I said, you know what? This is crazy. Because then I have to go through 6 drawers to find it. Okay. So this needs to be all the shiny crystal beads. This needs to be all the wooden beads. You buy these. These do come in the beading section. And I guess they're called beading boxes. My first thing that I ever bought was this big. And it had a handle on it. And you slit it shut, and then inside were individual cups, so you could take them out, which was really cool. So I put all my tiny seed beads, I took them out of their packages, and I dumped them in all the little cups. And then I picked it up by the handle like this, and they went,
oh no!
Because they were tiny seed beads, and it didn't seal completely between the cups and the lid.
Yes.
They all slid down, so then they were all mixed up.
I am terrified of that because my beads are housed in a Stamping Up stamp container, which you get the wooden blocks in, and so it's not terribly, it doesn't really click shut that well, but so far so good.
As long as you don't turn it sideways.
Well, I do turn it sideways, but I've got it in a bag, so I figure if it does dump, it'll dump into the bag. I'll show you guys a picture, but it's not this is a much better solution for beads.
It is.
Than what I do.
Well, and the other thing too is to really think about these. All of the beads in this particular box are big. So unless the lid is open, when you turn this sideways, they're not going in it. So even if you put seed beads in here, they may slide a little bit if the lid's not completely pressed against, and these aren't going anywhere because these are really big. but I find that is the most helpful. And then I have another container. I have just a big shoebox container down below, which I won't get out because it's behind me. But it's just one of those plastic shoebox containers. So whenever things do go crazy, and I'm like, I am not sorting them, I dump them in there. I make bead soup. Okay. And that's also my container for my kids. Okay. So I throw in there, I'm like, yeah, and you know what? These aren't, like, I'm not using these anymore. I don't like these. Or they're just, those are my beads for my business, and nobody's allowed to touch them. Okay. Without asking. Yes. But then I have a big box of bead soup, which is like, you can use whatever you want. This is free for all. Alright, that makes sense. And it's fun. The kids like to sift through it. It's like a treasure hunt. Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that lately. My girls have been doing more with jewelry making, and they love to sort through my very unstable box of beads. Yeah, I don't know. My system, I have this old purse, and I have a mason jar in it with a bunch of beads on strings, like shoved down into the mason jar, and then I have that container, and then I have a box, like a purple box that has cases in it that slide into compartments, and they're all locked, but they're not locked very well. So I think some of it has to do with what kind of beader you are. When I first started my studio, I had all different kinds of jars, and I had them on the shelves that I had here. And I like that because I like to see all my stuff, but then it creates a little bit of chaos in your brain. Yeah. And so I've gravitated more toward, I want it to be clean where I'm working, and I want everything to be put away, and I will just take out things. And then when I'm working on a project, I have a drawer that is only dishes. Oh. And I get out different size dishes depending on what kind of thing, and I dump my beads in the dishes, and a lot of times these dishes that I got eons ago, I think at Target, you know, these are small enough for like an earring beading project, and so that way I can take them and I can stack them up. My son is actually using all of these for his Perler beads right now. But even these, you know, you can stack them up then, and I can leave them out on my table, and for the most part my cat won't take all the pieces. Because if I just leave them out, he takes the pieces. I didn't think about that. I don't have a cat, so. I have all different size, and you know, they're just random. This was a soap dish. But I just have random bowls that I use for my projects. Okay. And then, you know, I can stack things up like that, or however, and get them out. And, like, you know, I can take this down and go outside if I want to work. But it's not great for traveling, you know, like if I came to your house, I wouldn't be able to really bring this to work on it. Right. So, it's not great for that sort of travel. But it does work. It does work. So, and you said your fabric is over there, and you do it by color? Yes, I do my fabric by color. Okay. So why would you choose color versus type of fabric, or? Because the kind of things that I make, I found that I'm usually looking for. At one time I used to organize it by kind, like all the flannel was together, all of the you know, heavyweight home deck fabric is together. Okay. All the you know, quilting fabric is together. But then when a lot of times I make like bibs, I make bags. Most of that stuff you can make out of any kind of fabric. Okay, so it's not so important. So it's not really that important to me what it is. I mean, you wouldn't usually use home deck to make a bib, but I usually use flannel on one side and I use a quilting fabric on the other. And when I'm making something like a bib, I'm thinking about color. Is it a boy or a girl? Right. Am I thinking mom or dad is going to use this? And so that has become more important to me when I'm doing my projects, so that's why I organize it by color. Okay. So instead of going through many stacks of fabric, here's my quilting fabric, here's my flannel fabric, I can just say, oh, here's all my yellow fabric. Do I have a yellow to match this? Okay. All right. Now I have to go fabric shopping. Yes. Yeah, most of my fabric that I've got, I bought a lot of fat quarters because I do, like, if I'm going to do something, it'll be a bag, and I don't do much on my machine. I actually mostly hand sew at this point, if I do at all. But I'd like to get into garment making again. I used to sew all the time, and I made my prom dress in 10th grade, and you know, things like that I used to really love. And I suppose you could really make something fit you well, right, if you knew how to do it right and you had the space and the, you know, that kind of thing. Which is really my downfall now. I don't have the dedicated space for a sewing setup. That does make a difference. Yeah, and my like I remember we used to scratch up our old dining room table with the scissors. We would cut, because you have to have those nice sharp scissors, and our current dining room is nice wood, and I don't want to be. You can get mats to put over.
Yeah, I know, but that's one more thing.
Right, it's one more thing,
One more
and then you have to get it out, and
yes.
then you have to put it away by the time dinner comes.
Right, so that's probably not going to happen right now. But, you know, maybe down
until
the
they
line.
stop eating dinner.
No more food in my house. Yeah,
not until I finish this dress.
Although lately, with the amount of Stargate we've been watching, I'm not sure that we actually eat much dinner at the table. But, yeah, so a lot of my fabric is pretty small, but if I do buy garment fabric, I'm going to have to find a different place to keep it, because that'll be larger quantities than... Because most of my stash is, you know, most of my storage is made up of yarn.
Right. So how do you organize your yarn?
Well, all of my skeins are... they are separated by type. So I have bins, really big Rubbermaid bins. And I have one for my fingering weight yarn, I have one for my sport weight yarn, one for my sweater quantities, because I want to keep those together and so they don't get mixed up and used. My worsted weight yarn is actually, because my house is not very big when it comes to closet space. So I have all of these bins in the basement. My fiber bin is in, fiber's in another bin, and I have shelving down there, but in order for the amount of yarn I've got and for the types I've got, I don't have space for the worsted yarn. I don't have as much nice worsted weight yarn, and I don't care so much about the old acrylic craft yarn like that we used last week. So that the ones that I've got, I actually have just stored on a shelf, and that's upstairs. And my homespun is also upstairs in my husband's office, so that it's a little bit. It's not out in the middle of everything. It's got a spot, but it's not with the rest of the yarn. And all my books are up there, too. And I have a couple different scrap bins. One bin is big for the balls that are like just, you know, half a ball. And then I have the little tiny ones that I was using for like my scrappy scarf or for a scrappy blanket that are just a tiny bit. And those are in little baskets because they're pretty. And right. I can look at them. So all of my projects are kept in separate bags. So once I do start a project, that gets pulled out of the big bin and put in something separate. But mostly it's done by weight. And then I just kind of fish through for color after the fact. I think that in knitting, a pattern is based mostly on, I know. In knitting, a pattern is based on the weight of the yarn, so that you can make it fit better. So it makes more sense to me to organize by weight and then pick your color choices from there. So, and then my spinning wheel is in its own little corner. But it's, you know, whatever fiber I'm working on at that point in time is kept with that. So that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So you talked about your projects, and do you do mostly jewelry, do you think, or do you do, you know, as much bag making or needle felting?
I go in spurts.
Okay.
I'll make jewelry for a couple weeks, then I'll do needle felting, then I'll do something else. So my jewelry projects, like I said, they're on a they're in a container or they're on a tray. I'll have trays so that I can actually carry them up and down. Like in the summer, I can go outside and work. My needle felting, I put in a basket. I was trying to have this basket where I was working on the current project to take from my studio to elsewhere. So that's sitting downstairs right now.
But your studio has such nice space with a table and everything. You really don't have to go too far if you don't want to.
I don't want to, but in the summer I want to be outside. I don't want to be in here.
Right.
Because it's, I have a window in through the bathroom, but I don't have a window to the outside world directly in the studio. So I always feel so isolated. It's great in the winter. I come up here and I nestle in and it's awesome.
Yeah,
in
that's
the summer,
nice and cozy.
I just want to be outside. So I take my projects outside.
Yeah, I do all of mine either in the living room, or if I watch podcasts, I'll watch them on my computer and just sit in a chair there next to the computer. But my studio space, if you want to call it that, is still kind of a work in progress. There's a 3D printer that moved in down there, and then my desk got covered in wires. And I got to figure out, the lighting is not great down there, and I need to figure out some more extension cord options. I guess. There's only so many outlets. It's in the basement, and there's only so much that's, you know, pre-put in. And we did have the house wired when we moved in, but there's still never quite enough in an old house. So, but when I do go, I mean, you guys probably see, I will have each project in its own bag.
Right.
And
which is helpful with knitting.
Yes.
In fact, this is my knitting project bag.
Ah, yes.
I don't even know what's in here.
But yeah,
all of the knitting projects I ever have done. This washcloth and this washcloth, and this was the first one I started.
Oh yeah.
So long ago.
Swatch.
Look, I even have the directions.
Yeah.
So what kind of project bags do you prefer?
Well, I think I like a zipper bag best if I had to choose, mostly because when I put it away, I know that everything's going to stay there. I am not the kind of person who's that careful, I guess. Not that I'm destroying things, so I'm a little haphazard, and I have a basket next to my chair that I just kind of pile the bags in, and if I want something, I'll pick it up and pull it out. Now these guys, of course, that I showed you earlier do have drawstrings, and they're pretty good too, but it needs to be a good tight top on the drawstring.
Plus you always shove yours in your bag and take it with you wherever you're going to work on.
Yeah, I do. I take it with me.
Unfortunately, the kinds of things that I do are not conducive to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to have a good sturdy bag to throw in my purse to take with me, so I almost always have one. But I think probably most of my bags that I do use are made for knitting, or, I mean, they're not, there are some that you can buy that are shaped specifically for a tablet or shaped for an organizer or something like that. Mm-hmm. Mine are much more just, here's a bag, and might be a pocket inside for stitch markers or something like that, but I don't use a whole lot of structured bags. They're pretty freeform and easily squishable, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Right.
So
then they pack easy and you can take more projects.
Yeah.
Just in case you run out.
Because you might.
Or you get bored with that one and you have to move on to something else.
I know, it's kind of sad.
So
that's, I guess, our organization. I mean, mostly we're looking at the big to the small. If you guys have any other questions for us about our organizational techniques,
right,
you can let us know.
Right. I have to say that I do have, since doing these shelving, I try to put like with like in general, if I have a lot of it. So one of these, I have these photo boxes, these 12 by 12 photo boxes that fit nicely in here.
Can you see
them? And they were from Hobby Lobby and Michael's, and they fit perfectly in these shelves because these shelves are 13 by 13. Mm-hmm. So a lot of plastic scrapbooking boxes do not fit in these because they're 14 by 14 because they're accommodating a 12 by 12 inch paper and they're plastic. So the paper photo boxes are like 12 and a half by 12 and a half. So they fit. And so one of those has stamps in it, one of them has scrapbooking stuff, one of them has all drawing stuff, and I have another drawer for paint. But I do have two great big boxes that is just random crafting stuff.
Yeah, I think we all probably have a couple of those.
Again, the kids are allowed to touch those. Right. I have specific ones that they're not allowed to touch.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. Or you have
to ask.
You can have those stamps, and you can have those yarns, and you can have...
Yes. Well, now that they're older, I could put some of that stuff back. There was a time where it was like, these are my stamps, and these are your stamps. And don't touch my stamps because I don't want them yucky.
Right.
Now that they're older, I feel like I can put stuff together and be like, don't make my stamps yucky, or you can't use them again.
Yeah. I did make a whole organizational shelf for their school stuff last year, and it's worked out wonderfully. They have a bin for their pencils and a bin for their glue and a bin, there's all these different bins, and it's just been a lifesaver for us. They can go there now and they know where it is. Right. I think before we had stuff just shoved everywhere and we couldn't find anything, and they'd be, what, I need a new pencil, where's the sharpener, and the homework is just so much better now. So much better. Maybe I should take a cue from that and organize the rest of my house while we're at it.
Always the thought, but the time commitment is hard because I haven't really gone through all my boxes since I put these shelves in because I took everything off, shoved it in boxes, started putting stuff back on, and I'm determined to make it fit here or it has to leave.
Yeah, I know, that's really hard. When
you don't talk about that shelf over there that has a whole bunch of stuff that I have to organize.
Yeah, when we thought we were moving last summer, I did go through and purged a whole lot. And now I'm kind of like, I'm annoyed that I got rid of it. But I'm not using it. I haven't wanted to use it since then. I'm just kind of annoyed that I had to get rid of it.
Yes.
But really overall, it's probably better that way. And I've been going, taking the cue and going through my clothes and going through,
all the other stuff.
Yes. The old candles that have been in storage that are half burnt probably 10 years.
Right.
All those things.
Yes,
So,
I hear you. So we decided to do a roundup of some project bags, and we contacted some folks who actually sent us some bags, and we have some for giveaways.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about, because we all love project bags, it's an easy way to stash things together. So we're going to talk about a few that sent us some of their bags that are, some are made specifically for knitting and some are for other causes as well.
Right.
So, do you want to start?
Yeah, I will go ahead. This is a little bag from Kitchen Counter Crafter. She has offered us a $20 coupon to her shop, which is really extremely generous.
Nice.
This is my personal bag by hers, and what I love about it is it's got this neat little snappy top. So it stays open and it's kind of neat, so it pops back shut again. She has lots of different sizes, and it's gusseted on the bottom, and you can get it with or without a snap.
So what do you use yours for?
Mine, I use mostly, I set it next to me and put my ball ends in, just to kind of collect them in one spot so that I don't have to.
But you could put a ball of yarn in there and then have it close like this and be able to pull it out, right?
It would hold one skein quite nicely.
Yeah. But you could still pull. So it's almost like a, what do they call that? A ball holder.
Yeah, like a yarn bowl. Kind of like a yarn bowl, that idea. Yep. So
or
that's
a ball holder.
Yes. So that is our first one from Kitchen Counter Crafter.
This one is from You Sew and Sew, which is a little play on words. It's E-U-E, sew, S-E-W, and sew, S-E-W, so, which is very cute. And this one is a lined bag. It's very sturdy. It's gusseted on the bottom, so it'll definitely stand up by itself. And it has this nice little strap here so that you can hang it up or carry it around by its strap. This comes in a couple of different sizes.
Yep.
But this one I think would definitely fit, what, like 4 balls of yarn?
3 to 4 probably, comfortably in a
and
project.
Definitely can fit your knitting needles across here, unless you have whopping big ones.
And that one has a little pocket inside too.
Oh yeah, it does. It has a little pocket in here. And this one comes in a lot of different fabric choices. So you have a lot of options there. So that one's You Sew and Sew.
This one is from Girl Cave Bags. This is her newest variety of bag. It's a soft side, so it's not lined and is more easily squishable around the skein to fit into another bag, because of course we all throw our projects in our purses and take them along with us. Again, zipper top, has a lining of a different color, which is kind of cute, and a handle to put on your wrist so you can take this on the go.
Cool.
Yeah.
So these are from Monkey Foot Designs. And this is actually a company that's owned by my sister-in-law, Kristen Valenti. And she, this is the snack size. And this is actually what I use for my projects when I want to take them, you know, when I have a beading project or some jewelry that I'm actually taking somewhere to show. I put some in there. This one's the medium. These aren't gusseted, but they do have a nice snap closure on the loop. And the nice thing about these is that it's lined with a waterproof liner and it's sealed. So if you're prone to accident, like you stick your coffee cup or your water bottle in with your projects and they keep dumping, this, you can get some moisture in through here, but generally if you dump coffee on this, it's not going to soak through into your project.
Right.
So she's going to be sending us a medium, which is about this size. I've had these for ages, so I have different sizes than what she offers these days. But the medium size is about approximately this big. Yeah. And she does make bigger sizes.
So I'd probably fit a whole sweater in it.
Yeah, you could definitely fit a whole sweater in. So, yeah, that's a different option.
Yeah. And then our last, excuse me, our last generous donator is Silver Shed USA. I have used her bags before, and they are also lined with a zipper across the top. Her handle is attached to her zipper pull, so you can take that off if you want to there, and then it zips up towards the top. She does not have any pocket inside, but it is fully lined. Excuse me, it is fully lined, but not quite as stiffly as the You Sew and Sew bag. So there's a couple different levels of lining that we found here. She also sent me a couple other things for future giveaways, a smaller bag and a little mug rug. And then this is to store double pointed or circular needles, so you can pop them in there and
that's cool.
Your project will not fall off. Kitchen Counter Crafter also sells these, which is they're really neat.
Cool.
So, so these are actually all for you guys. The bag makers, who I will write some more details about their bags on our show notes, were so generous in offering these up for you guys. So we'll be putting up a thread in the Revelry group with some questions, some prompts for you guys, and then we'll be doing a drawing for 5 of the bags.
Awesome.
That's
exciting.
At the end of the month, right? I know, don't you wish?
But really, I mean, the conclusions we came to is all the bags we liked all the bags.
We did.
It really depends on what you're looking for. This one's definitely the thickest.
Yes.
This is the second thickest.
Yeah, and then this one's even, these 2.
These are thinner.
Yeah.
So these are definitely more squishable, but these will stand up better. So it depends on, and I mean, the sizing on them is similar, but not the same.
Right.
So some of are, you know, wider. If you like the wide ones, then you have these. The monkey foot ones are more portrait size.
Yeah, they're taller.
Than what's the other opposite of portrait? Landscape.
Landscape. Yes.
So it all depends on your personal preference on what you're doing, where you're taking these. Do you need them to sit up? Do you not want them to sit up because you're like at the zoo and you don't want them to get dirty? Are you taking it
to a bar and you don't want to spill beer on your project? You know.
Do you take your projects to a bar? Oh, you do when you go to the Knit and Beers.
Pints and Pearls.
Pints and Pearls. Knits and Beers.
Knits and Beers. Yeah, but there's lots. I mean, there's lots of options out there. But these guys were super generous in sending them out. So please check our show notes for more details on.
Because a lot of them come in different sizes.
They do, different sizes and different closures as well.
But we'll let you know in the show notes which sizes these are.
Yes.
So that you can have an idea of what will fit in there.
Yep.
So. And the other thing is, you were talking about the way that they zip. Yes.
I have had a bag, I can't remember what it was, I think it was probably something I bought at Michael's, where the handle zipped, like the handle was here and the zipper zipped down. So when I went walking around, my yarn's coming out down here and it was getting caught in the zipper. Okay. And that is not always good because it can fray your yarn as it's being pulled through. And I think that's probably why some people like drawstrings better than zippers, because it may or may not get caught depending on how much yarn you put in your bag. But I haven't had that happen thus far. Okay. I like to make sure that it has a nice tight closure, which all of these do, so that my yarn doesn't fall out.
Right.
Because, you know, I'm so careful with my yarn. No. So yeah, I had a lot of fun looking at all these different types of bags.
Fun.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things out there on Etsy.
There are.
You can find other ones beyond these. But these are just some of our favorites. So,
thank you for joining us today. Make sure you check back for the different threads for the stash along
and the
giveaway for the bags. If you have any questions about organization and we can point you in a direction, please let us know.
But I think probably our threads will have something to do with organization.
Yes. They will.
So you don't actually have to create something. You could just take a picture of your organization.
That'd be kind of fun to see different people's inspirations.
How different people do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that'll be open till the bag giveaway drawing with the organization will be open till March 30th. In case we didn't say that.
There's 31 days.
31.